Welcome to Game Nights with JR. I am JR, and I'm going to run down my 5 favorite resource management games. Resource management games are almost always combined with some other element. They're usually engine builders. There's a lot of times worker placement. In one of the games today, there's even a spades sort of trick-taking mechanic that is involved. It's great because as long as you are gathering and having to employ resources, it kind of counts as a resource management game. And so a lot of the strategy of these games comes from figuring out the best way to optimize your gathering engine. How can you get as much stuff as possible and then convert that into what you need to gain whatever you need for victory points, coins or buildings or whatever. And so I will tell you, I'm usually not very good at these games, but I love them. It's always so satisfying to kind of figure out a good way to optimize something and then set off a really big chain reaction. But again, I'm not very good at them. So if you want to beat me at any of these games, just let me know. I will also say that most of the games in my top 5 are so heavy that you're probably not going to find them at a typical game night with JR because, we're in bars, and so they often tend to be a lot lighter. In fact, one of the top 5, I tried to make a June feature game, and it was just so heavy that I had to end up pulling it out of the rotation, even though, obviously, it's one of my favorite games. So, without any further ado, let's get into my top 5 resource management games. Number 5 is this behemoth, Arcs. Now, if you just go buy a base copy of Arcs, it's like a third this size because this has got all of the legacy expansion stuff in it, which I haven't even played yet. But Arcs is super fun. It's number 5 because it's technically a resource management game, but I would say that that's probably one of the least interesting mechanics about it, but it is so much fun. It is the newest game from Cole Weirl. I actually don't know how to say his last name. Sorry, Cole. But I think your games are great. He designed Root and Oath, and this is his newest. I would say it's also his most accessible. Arcs is an area control game where you're trying to conquer different planets and fight other people. So it's like space battles and all this stuff. This is also the one that has the really interesting, kind of spades adjacent trick taking mechanic that is implemented in a way I've just never seen in another game before. So the miniatures in this game are great. The gameplay is quick. And for a game that feels as complex as it does, it's really not. It's pretty simple as these games go and way more accessible than a lot of other games that weigh this much. Anyway, if you haven't played Arcs, you should definitely check it out. I think this is actually going to wind up in one of my feature game nights pretty soon because it is on the lighter end of these kind of resource management games. So maybe you could beat me at Arcs soon. Number 4 is Black Forest. Those of you who went to the June game nights know that this was supposed to be in the June rotation. It made it one game night and people played it and they were like, I don't know, this is fun, but maybe not at a bar. And they're right. It's just a little bit too heavy. But this is a game where you are playing as probably 17th century German peasant, I'm guessing, who lives in the Black Forest. And you are gathering resources using a worker placement mechanism, and you're trying to create glass. You have a little glass hut where you're blowing glass, I guess, on your property, and you're trying to, settle. You have pastures and lakes and fields, and you're just trying to balance this really sort of intricate dance of resources. The really kind of heart of this game is these really amazing resource dials that act in a really clever way to sort of to sort of consume your resources. So on one side of each dial, as you can see in this picture, is the resources that you are using, your base resources. So your charcoal or your wood or your sand or your water or whatever. And on the other side is what you're producing from that. So either provisions or glass on the other dial. So when you need to make more of one thing, the dial rotates and you end up consuming your resources while also producing the thing that you're consuming those resources to make. It sounds a little weird, but honestly, once you see it played out in the game and see how it works, it's really elegant and really, really clever. And it makes this game just a real joy to play. It does have a little bit of a learning curve just because it's so different from other resource management games. But man, I think it's beautiful and it's so much fun to play. I'm glad I did not go lift weights before recording this video because every single one of these games is super heavy. This is number 3. It's Galactic Cruise. It's one of my newest games I got from Kickstarter, and it's this designer's first game, which good job to him. This is a huge sprawling game. It takes up a massive table, and you are all working for the same galactic cruise company that sends cruises into space. And the CEO has just announced that they're retiring, and so you all have, I think, like 3 or 4 years, which is rounds, in order to prove that you're the best and need to be the new CEO. So this is worker placement. It's also resource management. And what I like about this one that's different from a lot of other worker placement games is you never feel like the actions you're taking are random. Sometimes worker placement games, I kind of don't know what I'm supposed to do because there's so many options and it doesn't seem like there's some that are clearly better than others. So I kind of get that analysis paralysis. In this one, every single action you're going to have to do before you can launch your rockets into space. And at the end of the day, you're just trying to launch rockets into space. So you end up needing to do them all at some point. So it kind of allows you to relax a little bit and focus more on optimization than like pure naked like planning. So even though this game is huge, it's so cleverly designed that it all flows really well together. I was surprised in our first playthrough how quickly we all picked it up, given again how big it is, how heavy this thing is, and the table footprint. So that's Galactic Cruise. Highly recommend. Next up is Evacuation. This is my number 2 favorite resource management game, and this game is incredible. I found it at Board Game GeekCon a couple of years ago in the Hot Games room, and I knew I had to have it. It is a game where you start on a planet. All up to four players start as people who have settled a planet, and we've basically burned up all of its natural resources. I know, totally unrealistic, right? Like, when would that ever happen? You are then dismantling your planetary engine, building spaceships, and shipping all of your stuff to a new planet to resettle it. So it is an engine building game, but in most engine builder games, you start out with no power and then you build your engine, build your engine, build your engine. So by the end of the game, you have like a ton of power. In this game, you start with a fully built engine, then you have to dismantle it as the game goes on and then rebuild it as your rockets get to the other planet. So it creates this really interesting sort of inverse bell curve that is really unlike any other game. And I cannot tell you how frustrating the mid game is when you realize that you should have sent 2 more of that resource to the other planet, because of course, if your resources are on one planet, not the other, you can't use them on the other planet, right? There's no teleporting in this game. We're not there yet. That's probably still a few more years in the Star Trek future. Anyway, Evacuation is great. The design is incredible. And look at this box. Like, this is a fairly small box, and the amount of game that comes out of this box is astounding. This is a really fun game. It's really smart. It has a lot of those kind of moments where I'm in awe of the design as I'm playing and different things kind of click. And yeah, it's one of those where the theme accentuates the gameplay in really effective ways. And it makes it just a really, really satisfying play that I want to do over and over and over. So if you're interested in Evacuation, let me know, because I will play this game literally anytime you want. Okay, probably no big surprise that my number 1 resource management game is Scythe, because it's still my favorite board game right now, and I just love it. This box is also super heavy because I have all of like the metal coin upgrades and expansions and all that kind of stuff, so I'm like dying over here. But Scythe is a beautiful game, and I think one of the reasons I like it so much is the really clever player board that manages your resource tracking and your upgrades. You can see here in this picture, the game starts with all of the pieces sort of on the top of the board. And as the game goes on, you're upgrading and building and adding and modifying, and you're literally moving pieces around on your board to show what you're able to do. There's a little bit of a learning curve to learn how the game's iconography works, but once you figure that out, which only takes really a round or two, it's such an elegantly designed game that it really becomes very simple to figure out what you're allowed to do, so that you can focus on what you need to do. Now, again, I pretty much never win this game, but I will play it anytime you want because it's so super fun. The base game plays with 5, and I do have the expansion to play up to 7. Obviously, the more people you have, the longer it takes. But man, a 7-player game of Scythe is a thing of beauty. So if you've never played before and you're down for a game that's probably going to take you a couple hours the first time, let me know when we bust side out, because I love this game so much. There you have it. Those are my 5 favorite resource management games. I'd love to hear what yours are, especially if you have some that you can't believe I didn't list, because it probably means I haven't heard about them. Or maybe it means I don't like them and we can fight about it, which is super fun too, right? What's better than fighting about board games? Obviously playing board games is better than fighting about board games, right? But I always love to hear about games that I need to know about, or games that I maybe need to give another chance. So if you want to play any of these games, let me know in the comments. If you have games that you think I need to check out or reconsider, obviously let me know in the comments. And I want to say thank you to all of my patrons. This video is especially for you, and I love all of the support that you've been giving me over the months now. Cannot wait. We have some really cool Patreon exclusive stuff coming up in the next few months that I'm so excited to tell you about. But for now, thank you for watching. These are my 5 favorite resource management games. We'll be back next month in July with another top 5, but until then, hit me in the comments, let me know what you think, and I'll see you soon.